Good afternoon, sir. My name is Patrick Benjamin, and we are speaking from the TOWN CRIER news platform. We thank you so much for your time to speak with us. We listened to your presentation at the Learning Centenary Conference, and we found out that you were so passionate about the justiciability of the Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are sure that Nigerians would like to know what exactly does it mean for the Chapter 2 to be justiciable, and how will it improve the living condition of the Nigerian people. Thank you, sir.
I think the first point, thank you. The very first point to be made is what is contained in Chapter 2. Chapter 2 outlines those rights, fundamental rights of the Nigerian people that we are entitled to, which go beyond civil and political rights. Civil and political rights relate to freedom of speech, the right to liberty, the right to fair hearing, the right to counsel, if you like, the right to vote and all of that. But beyond those rights, the right to life, for you to enjoy the right to life properly, you must have, as a matter of right, the right to the means to sustain life. So for that reason, for an unemployed Nigerian, he doesn't have the right to the means to sustain life. So there's a right to a job as a fundamental right. There's a right to housing. You will notice now that for people who are tenants who cannot afford rent these days, from time to time, landlords increase rent. They can be kicked out of their houses with their families. You actually see a lot of people living on the streets, living under trees. Such persons do not enjoy the right to housing. There's a right to education, to know what transpired even before you were born, the knowledge that has been accumulated, and also is part and parcel of the process of acquiring skills. So it's not a right that should be denied some people or based on ability to pay school fees. So there's a right to education. Now, there's a right to recreation. There's a right to health care. If you are sick, you have a right to be well, whether you have money in your pocket or not. So, but this category of rights, which we normally call socio-economic rights, they are recognized in the Constitution right now, but they are placed in a section of the Constitution that by law we say they are not justiciable, which means you cannot go to court to enforce those rights. If your right to liberty right now is violated, you can go to court to claim damages. You can insist on your right to fair hearing. If a decision is taken in your absence against you, you have a right to challenge that decision. But right now, you cannot go to court and say, look, Mr. Governor, I have acquired some skills. I was a student. Now I have a degree in civil engineering, but I don't have a job. You are in charge of the resources of this state. I'm going to court to get a court order to compel you to give me a job. If you do that, if you go to court right now, the court will tell you that, oh, those category of rights are not justiciable. They are not rights that you can enforce through litigation. Because by law, they say they are just objective, they are aspirations that by the Constitution we feel will be nice, more like achievable when able. There's also the right to participate in the management of public affairs. It's a socio-economic right, you know. So there's a right to Disability. If, for instance, a citizen gets disabled, old age pension, because right now only those who work maybe in the civil service or in the private employment are the ones who get pension. So, but what about those people who were farmers, who were traders? All of a sudden they are too old now to continue their trade. There are no provisions for them for old age care. Those who get disabled. So there are provisions under the chapter 2 that take care of such needs. So we argue that in a truly just and fair Nigeria, everybody is entitled to this category of rights. And where they don't enjoy them in practice or get the opportunity to enjoy them, they should be able to go to court. I say, look, I was a farmer all my life. I produced food that also fed Nigerian citizens. Now all my children are gone. I'm okay. My husband was very active. Now I'm a widow. What do I live on? We were not able to build our house. Why should I be thrown onto the street by a landlord that is asking for, increment in. So the system, the Nigerian system, social system, economic system, political system cannot afford any longer to be indifferent to these kinds of issues. And one of the most effective ways of ensuring the enjoyment in practice of these rights is to make them justiciable. If a governor knows, if the president knows that he can be taken to court and the court will make an order compelling such a governor or president to provide for the enjoyment of these rights, then it's a matter of obligation. He doesn't need to wait to be sued before he guarantees the enjoyment of these rights for the citizens.
Thank you so much, sir. Just the last question,
Yes.
because we understand that from your analysis that the young people have a major role to benefit in the justiciability of this chapter 2 you're talking
Certainly.
about.
Certainly.
What role do you think young people can play in supporting this call? Because we know for a long time you've been on this crusade on ensuring that chapter 2 is justiciable. What role can the young people play in joining this campaign for the justiciability of the chapter 2?
Yes, for the young, the right to education is very fundamental so that they don't make mistakes. The whole essence of getting access to accumulated knowledge is to learn, not to make the mistakes that were made in the past. And as I said, to also acquire skills. So the right to education is very, very important to the youth. The right to a job, because they are the ones who are saddled with the problems of unemployment. So they can actually agitate. They can popularize these concepts. And this is not something that they should seek to do alone. So there are other segments of the society, like the elderly, the homeless, the tenants who keep complaining about astronomical rents. So the youth can take the initiative to organize all those who stand to benefit from the justiciability of socioeconomic rights and say we are all involved. We are commonly afflicted. Let us join hands to speak more forcefully so that first and foremost, these rights ought to be made justiciable so that we can enjoy them in practice.
Thank you,
The
sir.
youths are full of energy,
Yes.
so they can actually be the spark. And not only that, they can reach out to the trade unions, to the farmers, to the women organizations, and say, look, these issues potentially are of benefit to all of us. Please include this in your struggles, that chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution, the time has come to make it justiciable.